Hey everyone! Today I'm going to give you 5 tips to unravel the mystery of show, don't tell. So I don't want you to tell me what happens. I want you to show me what happens. I want to experience, and that's the magic of a good story. Tip number 1 is emotion. So I don't want you to tell me that your character's happy. I want you to show me that your character's happy. And one way you can do that is to look up the emotion in the emotion thesaurus. It's going to give you all kinds of tips. What kind of body language, what kind of facial expressions to show us happy. And one example of that, I'm going to give you these sentences that are an example. So instead of saying, Tom was happy to be home and never wanted to leave, why don't you try saying, Tom whistled a light tune as he skipped up the steps to his childhood home. He smiled when the door opened and his dad stepped out on the porch with his arms wide. Tip number 2, get rid of sensory words. So once you've written your manuscript, go back through with your red pen and circle every time you use a sensory word. Things like saw and heard. My example is this. I heard the man approach. How did you hear the man approach? Was there stomping of feet? Was there crunching of gravel? Was there heavy breathing? To do this, you have to have a really clear picture of the setting. And one of the things that can help you with this is looking the setting up in the setting thesauruses. I've got an urban setting and a rural setting thesaurus, and you can look up your setting and find out, is there gravel? Is there pavement? Maybe there's sand. And then you can base your description on those things. Number 3 is body language. Use body language to show what's happening. And I have an example for you. Telling would be Mary dreaded the meeting with her boss. To show that, Mary wiped her sweaty hands on her pants and then gripped her shaking hands together. Her knees shook as she hesitated in her boss's office doorway. Number 4, put yourself in that situation and ask yourself questions about the 5 senses in that situation. For example, what does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like to be in that situation? And I have another example. You could say, it was a cold day. But instead of saying that, you can show that to your reader by saying, white frost clung to the window as Anne looked out. She hugged the collar of her sweater tight and shivered. That sounds cold to me without stating that she's cold. And that's what you want. Tip number 5 is there is some telling in every story, and it's called narration. And you do need some of it. You just don't want to have too much. You want the majority of your book to be showing. That way the reader experiences the story, and that's what you want. Tip number 5 is there is a little bit of telling in every story, and it's called narration. And every book needs a little bit of it, but you don't want too much. You want to show the story to your readers so your reader experiences it. So I had a really weird experience with this recently. I found a book, it had a great cover. The description was really well written and it was an interesting premise. So I decided to give it a go. I read the first chapter, and the entire first chapter was nothing but narration. And I stopped reading. So you do not want people to stop reading after the first chapter. Make sure that you've got lots of showing in the first chapter so that people want to keep reading. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you in the next video.